Hi, in this lesson, we'll show you how you can organize all the notebooks that you have created for the bronze layer, the silver layer, and the gold layer into one workflow. This is pretty much to organize this workflow, to make it as a workflow, like one notebook run after the other. You don't want to like go and run the notebook yourself. Usually when you create the notebook, you just want to schedule it and make it running as a schedule, right? So the first thing first, we'll go to the code that we have to write for the Titanic. Click in here. We have Titanic Bronze, Titanic Gold, Titanic Silver. If you click in Titanic Bronze, here, this is the code that we have written before, right? And if you wanna schedule it and make it run as on a schedule, so you click here, there's a schedule, click, and then you can choose when you should run this schedule. But bear in mind, this will run this notebook only as a schedule. What we wanted to do is we wanted to create 3 different notebook in one schedule. And this is pretty much what a workflow is. So rather than doing it in this way, all you're gonna do is you go to workflows and start by creating a job in the workflow. So we create a job and I'm call it Titanic pipeline. So I'm gonna schedule a notebook. You can schedule actually many things as we described before. I'm gonna choose a notebook source from workspace, or you can choose from get provider the notebook. So I'm going to choose the notebook. So you go to my notebook users, my username Titanic. The first one I wanted to run is the bronze, so I'm going to choose the bronze. I'm going to confirm. This is pretty much advanced stuff. I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to just leave everything the same. Which kind of cluster I want to run, I'm going to choose my already running cluster, personal compute. Now, as you know, jobs have 2 options to run. You can run on an existing cluster, we call it all-purpose cluster, or you can ask the job when the job starts to create its own cluster. And when the job ends, it will destroy this cluster. This is the most effective way and also most cost effective as well, because job cluster are cheaper than already running cluster. But for myself, I'm just having the cluster already running, so I don't want to like wait for another cluster to start. So I'm going to use the existing cluster called existing all-purpose cluster. I'm going to choose this one and I'm going to create. Confirm, create. So now I have created the first job, right? You can actually choose to run it now. So if you wanted to do that, we'll actually do that. So choose to run it now. So the job is started and will run actually this notebook. So if you go to jobs or runs here, you see there is a run. There is a notebook running now. You can actually stop it if you want, but even if you click on here, you'll start see the notebook and the execution of this notebook. As you can see here, the job is now starting to use this. So it has executed this command, now created this command, now it's running this command, and it's going for the other command, and so on and so forth. So even though this is a job running, you can still live track the job and see what it actually done, what's actually doing right now as you run it. And you can see all the metrics and all the stuff that's on. If you go back to the jobs here, you see the one run, you can start see interesting stuff. So let's see the cluster, the Spark UI. This is for people who are familiar with Spark. Spark has a user interface called Spark UI. It gives you more details about what is going on behind the scene, like Spark tasks, Spark phases, storage, environment, gives you everything. This is for you to debug and work with your task. So if you go back to the job run here, so we have the job run and it's succeeded, right? So you go here and you can see this job. This is the task ID. It took 42 seconds to run. All right. Now let's go to the job again. We have this job here, pipeline. Remember, we need to schedule the bronze after this, the bronze, then the silver, then the gold. So we're going to add another task for the silver layer. So we added one, which is the Titanic pipeline here. And because it's the first one, it took the first name. So let's call it this one here, we call it the bronze layer. Let's add another one. Let's save. So save it first. We add another one. We call it the silver layer. And then, so we're going to choose a notebook. Source is a workspace. Path, we're going to choose the path. Users. Here, Titanic. I'm going to choose the silver notebook. I'm going to leave everything the same. When you choose the cluster, I'm going to choose the existing all-purpose cluster, so it doesn't have to start or anything. I'm going to create task. So now it's created the bronze layer, have the silver layer. Let's add another one, which is the final one, which is the gold layer. Select the notebook, users here, Titanic, gold, confirm. I'm going to leave everything the same, create task. Now my workflow is ready. I have created a workflow that has 3 tasks. One will run after the other. Okay, so this is pretty standard. What I wanted to do, I'm going to create the bronze layer, the silver layer, and the gold layer. So all I need to do now, I can run it now as we did before, or I can create a schedule. This is where how we're gonna trigger this job. I'm gonna trigger it by a schedule. So I'm gonna click here. How often you want to run this job? It's a batch job, so you want to choose, okay, I want to run it every day at this way, or every week, or every hour, or every 1 minute, or every, you know, whatever. So you want to do. So let's get every minute. Actually, every, yeah, how many minutes? Let's say every 5 minutes. Can do that, right? But I'm not going to wait for it to run, so I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to actually run it now. I'm going to see the schedule that runs one task after the other. But if you want to schedule it in intervals, this is how you're going to do it. Do you want to get email notifications? So you can say, yes, email me when it started, when it stops. There's a lots of stuff you can do. Do you want to run multiple jobs at the same time, like multiple workflow? If you have a big workload, you can actually start multiple clusters to run the job. You can also do that. I'm going to leave everything the same, so I'm going to run now. Then view run. This is the second run. Now you see, we know now what is going on. This is the first task. It's been executed. And when you go to this one, you'll see the details of this run. What is it doing? Which command is now executed? What is happening, and so on. If you go back, you'll see this one is done, and then Databricks will automatically start the next one. It says pending, and will start the second one. And I think maybe because, let me see here, if I choose existing all-purpose cluster for this one, oh, this one, so because I forgot to assign the cluster, this one actually will create a cluster. So let's actually, this is a good exercise to try to cancel the job while it's running. So I'm going to go here, it's still running. So I'm going to call stop, cancel job. So my job is canceled. Now I need to go back to my tasks. Let me check the cluster tasks here. This one, it uses my personal compute. Fine. My personal compute. And this one, personal compute. Did I choose personal compute? Make sure. Yeah, all personal compute. So everything looks the same. So all I need to do now, there is one here. Okay, yeah, I need to swap this. Personal compute, upgrade. Now, all of them uses the same cluster. You can see here, there is one cluster. Let's run it again and see what will happen. So I'm gonna run. Modify video run. So now again, we'll start the first job. It's running now, and it will take some time to process all the data. But have you noticed now, Databricks will, because the cluster already started, so the first job is running. Now the second job will kick in and will start running. And once it's run, it will do the exact steps inside the notebook. You can even go there and see, like before, you can see the code, which command is running, what is going on. So you can do all that. If you go back, should be done. Now it's the third notebook is now executing. And after it ends, now you have scheduled the notebook or the workflow that runs the bronze, the silver, and the gold layer all in one go. You don't have to run each notebook individually. You don't have to do it yourself. You can just put it in a schedule and it will run. So after we did this, we have now the all run. So if you go here to the Titanic, you can see we have one successful run when we just run one job. We have one that which we canceled, and we have one which is running successfully for all of them, which is pretty much what we wanted to do when we wanted to create the bronze, silver, and gold. Now you take a look in here, you see Databricks already has done. So this run here and this run here, there is only 2 steps running. The other one was canceled. This one here, there is all the 3 steps are running. And pretty much this is what you wanted to know about how to run your jobs in a workflow. So thanks for listening, and see you in the next lesson.